already 5:05. And I believe we have a quorum in the room, but Director Constam is going to need to come to the dais when we do that. So it is 5:05. This listening session of the Board of Education for May 24th, 2022 is called to order. For tonight's meeting, any item that will be voted on has been posted on the PPS website under the Board and Meeting tabs. This meeting is being streamed live on PPS TV Services website and on Channel 28, and it will be replayed throughout the next 2 weeks.
Families in Lent in the last board meeting. Please listen to her. She's getting it. It wasn't until my now 8th grader lotteried into the Spanish DLI program at Lent for his kindergarten year that my family and I started to understand Lent. It takes time to get to know a community, and there are over 25 languages spoken at homes of children attending Lent Elementary. This means while kiddos at Lent may speak English or even Spanish well, household adults may not. It is entirely possible and likely that notices to inform these families of the Southeast Guiding Coalition and its work never reached these Lent adults. I only recently became aware of the Southeast Guiding Coalition's work myself. I was not even aware of this 5 p.m. meeting until this morning when I was offered a 2-minute slot to speak instead of a 3-minute slot at tonight's regular board meeting. The lack of earnest communication has left us voiceless. It takes time to come to you this evening, and this is time that many in the Lent community do not have to give as they are busy working or caring for their family's basic needs. And they may not have been able to take the extra time to try and figure out what the messaging that was sent home even means in languages that they don't even know. It takes time. In our recent March to Marysville, while noting the unsafe route, I spoke to a Lent parent that immigrated from Syria the year her eldest entered kindergarten. She came to the States without any English, and she has learned English through her children being at school. The current recommendation may place a family like hers into a Spanish DLI program unawares, based solely on miscommunication. Spanish would not serve her as well here as English does. As a representative for the voiceless at Lent, I ask that the board vote no on the Southeast Guiding Coalition recommendation as is, and take the time to get to know the Lent community better and insist on working with Lent to find an alternative to the current recommendation that doesn't further burden Lent families. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony.
Maria Flores Perez. Is Maria here? Rahi Reddy.
Good evening. Good evening, Vice Chair Scott and PPS board members. Really glad to be back here with you. My name is Rahi Reddy. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the parent of a 5th grader in the Spanish DLI at Bridger and a very active and engaged person in our community and in the work we've been doing in our schools. I'm speaking here today to express my support for Deputy Superintendent Claire Hertz's report and recommendations for Southeast schools and want to raise additional considerations for the planning process for implementation. We encourage you as a board to take a yes and approach with regards to this proposal. The yes is to prove this plan that can actually deliver excellent middle school outcomes for students and students of color in our region. The and is the commitment to invest staff in finding resources to work with families, students, longtime teachers in the affected schools, especially at Lent and Bridger, and of course, continued investment and support of Harrison Park as they transition. For our community, we really have done a lot, and you've, I think, saw the letter that we presented a couple of weeks ago from Bridger with hundreds of parents and students that signed on. We've spent a lot of time working on this issue. And one of the things we want to encourage in the and, as we stand in solidarity with Lent School, is to really invest the time on working on the transition with Lent school parents, students who are so active, longtime educators to make a co-created plan to support the school in a transition. With a yes vote, you can actually allow your staff to go all in working with a broad array of parents, students, and teachers so they can help co-create the most robust school and really have the kind of transition that is meaningful for neighborhood families. We also encourage you to work with our Bridger School community to provide much needed extra support and resources to the neighborhood program as they transition into creative science and for the Spanish DLI families that are moving to Lent. Do not be mistaken at all. A no vote is destructive. It is destructive because it will leave a status quo that is not working for families. It is destructive because you've really tapped in all of our energy for the last couple of years, and we as parents don't have any more to give. Our students don't have, our kids don't have any more to give. A no vote is a destructive vote. A yes and vote is inclusive, it's thoughtful, and it will lead to better outcomes. So we encourage you to please vote yes and to support the families and the parents and the students to make a great transition in this program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a video from Samira Carpenter.
My name is Samira Carpenter. My first name is spelled Samira. My last name is spelled Carpenter. I attended Bridger Elementary School dual immersion program and am now a sixth grader at Kellogg Middle School. Thankfully, my annoying little brother is still at Bridger.
My name is Raina Reed Day. My first name is spelled Rayna. My last name is spelled Reid-Day. I was also in the Spanish dual immersion program at Bridger Elementary School. Now I'm a sixth grade at Kellogg Middle School. We're sorry that we're not here to speak to you in person, but we finally get to go to outdoor school this week and will not be back in time. We're part of the Kellogg BIPOC community that makes up 55% of Kellogg's total attendance and 76% of Spanish DLI community. Due to the under-enrollment many years ago, PPS made a decision to close some middle schools and convert some elementary schools to K-8s. It was mostly non-white and poor communities who lost access to a middle school. We suffered being less ready for high school than our richer, non-BIPOC peers for many years. But we learned about social justice in our classes, and the district showed their commitment to social justice by prioritizing access to a newly built Kellogg Middle School for lower income and highly diverse communities. We think that this is probably the first time that that so many kids of color have gotten the chance to be a part of a desirable new school, especially in a state of art building that's very easy to get to.
But we think that the most special part about Kellogg is not the cool architecture and the shiny floors. It is special because it is the first and only intentionally built and staffed middle school in the dual language immersion program in PPS. Culturally responsive bilingual staff in all departments of the school create a unique environment of inclusion. We believe this makes all students, regardless of race or ethnicity, feel seen and welcome. The Spanish DLI program is an incredibly diverse mix of income levels, races, and ethnicities that truly reflect the diversity of our city and especially our outer southeast. We believe that the program matches the diversity of the neighborhoods with many of our native-speaking families living in the surrounding communities. We ask that you please vote yes on Deputy Superintendent Hurst's proposal today. We believe her plan is fair and upholds PPS's commitment and prioritizes historically underserved communities.
So loop back to Jessica Iser. for Maria Flores Perez. And that concludes who have signed up for public comment.
Okay, at this point, we've got a little extra time. Is there anybody else who's attending tonight who wishes to testify? And we'll give you 30 seconds to think about it. Okay, seeing no one stepping forward, I think we're going to go ahead and conclude this work session. We will be back as a board at 6 o'clock for our board meeting, where we'll be taking up the two big items are the SEGC vote and the budget, and a few smaller things as well. Thank you, everybody.